Welcome to the Gear Slum, your one-stop shop for all things guitar culture nonsense. I'm Aaron.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Cole.
We slum it hard, so you don't have to.
Okay, Aaron, I think you might appreciate this. Phil, you probably will too, because you're a part of American culture.
Big part.
My kids started watching The Office,
Okay.
and my older son, we let
American.
him start watching it first, and then my other son, we're at this phase where it's like, this seems like maybe it's too adult. In fact, my wife told my kids they couldn't watch King of the Hill, and I was like, bull crap, they can't watch King of the Hill. That's an amazing show. They need to watch that.
Uh-oh.
Then it says damn and hell and ass a lot in it.
And
So I was like,
maybe we shouldn't have.
maybe she was right. But there's no, like, I don't know what to even judge it by. So like, we let my older son watch The Office, but my younger son, my wife was like, well, I don't know, maybe when you're a little bit older. They're 14 and 11.
Yeah.
But then like his friends were watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and we were like, that's probably fine. But it's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's at least as inappropriate as The Office, right? They're just like slightly different in their humor styles or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say they're
So we let him start watching The Office, but my son, he had like leftover Christmas money that he had been saving to get till he found a Lego set he wanted. He ended up getting the Office Lego set,
Nice.
which is just like the actual Office, you know.
I saw the other day they have the Home Alone house now too.
Oh, I
On
bet
Lego-
it's
for Lego.
enormous, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's like $300 set.
I still kind of kick myself for not buying the Simpsons house when it came out.
like it's so big it's hard to understand.
Yeah. It's just confusing.
It's
Hard to understand how they can afford
Can we get a
it.
different house in here? This house is confusing.
We have a house double. Okay, I know it's been a whole week since we talked about this, but
Been a while.
Angelina Jolie, I'm wondering if she was she famous for being famous?
Yeah, like
I mean, her dad is John
then-
Voight, so she's like a
Pre-Kardashian.
Hollywood
Yes,
child
like
already.
Kim Kardashian. Exactly. And then
Or Paris
like,
Hilton.
she was
Paris
doing
Hilton,
movies.
really.
Yes. And then she started doing movies
Or Drew
and,
Barrymore.
Like,
Drew Barrymore. Not really. Drew Barrymore. Never mind. That was bad.
no.
Shut up,
No.
Aaron.
And then was doing movies and then became a legitimate movie star like after the fact. Because
I think, yeah,
Here
I'm sure you're right.
What I'm remembering is there was a period of time, and Aaron, please Google this while I'm saying it. She was married to Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep.
And
Which is like,
that was when she was like getting talked about all the time. And I'm thinking that was before Girl
Before Gone
Interrupted.
Before Girl Interrupted.
After Hackers, before Girl Interrupted.
oh, hackers.
I think she was married to Billy Bob Thornton.
There's a certain part of that
Am I
movie
right?
that
Or
I
am I wrong?
really remember. The Angelina Jolie.
They were married in the year 2000. In the year 2000.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Hackers
married
came out in 19. Hackers came out. That Hackers was like super early.
Yes.
Hackers was like one of
She's
the first
very-
movies she ever did that wasn't a concert movie.
She's very young. Like she's like you.
Too
It's-
young.
It's
To
clear
be-
that she's like I don't know how old she was, but like it's
What year was Hackers?
Okay, so do you want to know her
90
whole?
3.
Holy crap!
She would have been
90s.
18 in 93.
Oh, dude, she's
Am I
dating The Weeknd. Oh, that's a rumor.
Like the whole weekend.
Gosh dang it, Phil. Get with the pro. Oh, she dated Wyclef.
95.
It's like
95.
how British people say like, "Oh, what are you doing the weekend?" I'm dating the weekend.
What are you doing on the weekend? No, the weekend. Yeah. You say on
Hackers
the
was
weekend. No, over the
95.
weekend.
Aaron.
I've never seen it.
So she dated Jenny Shimizu from 1994 to 2000. Then Johnny Lee Miller were married for 2 years during that time.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
This doesn't make
Who is that?
any sense. Timothy Hutton was also dating
Lee
her
Miller
during that time.
is a British actor. He was on Elementary for a long time as Sherlock Holmes, but he was also in Train Spotting.
Misty Cooper and
As
Angelina
Sick
Wait,
Jolie
is
had
that
an
the star-
encounter.
Sick Boy from.
Aaron, is he the star? Is he the main guy in freaking Hackers?
Oh, he might be. Yeah, that makes sense. He's like, I've never seen Hackers, but again,
So then Brad
So-
Pitt, she was
yeah,
with.
he is.
She
He's
was with
on-
Brad Pitt for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they were married
yes,
for a
so
while.
Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton were together for I don't know how long, but like this was
3
pre
years.
internet, but like
No.
like paparazzi was like all frenzied over them, and they would
No,
say
they were married
like they
in
were
2000, so the internet was definitely like
It's not pre-internet, but we know what you're saying. Like nobody
You know
had
what
the
I mean.
internet in their pocket
Pre-pop-
or whatever.
yes, it was paparazzi era, and they were like the original Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. Like they would
Yeah,
sit
yeah,
in
yeah.
interviews and say crazy crap.
I have his blood in my necklace or whatever.
Yes, they literally did. They each had a vial of
Yeah.
each other's blood. And then like I think this is like some infamous moment on like an MTV Movie Awards carpet or something. They're like, "So, are you guys having a good time?" Like they just got out of their limo. And then Billy Bob Thornton said something like, "Well, we just had sex, so yeah, I'm having a pretty good time." Like
Wait, is that what
Like,
the
they just
Lonely Island
said
song is
that-
based on?
I just had sex.
no, the Lonely Island song is just about sex, dude. It's just about cool.
That
sex.
No, I
feels like
just had sex.
so. That feels so pathetic.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
know.
All right,
Like,
dude. A lot of
was-
people have
That
sex.
feels like she's dating
Yeah.
him for his money and prestige, and he's like, guys, I have
Did
this
he have
hot.
a lot of
You know,
that,
it's like
though?
I don't know. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's what it feels like. Like when the old rich guy dates some young girl,
Yeah,
or like the freaking Mark Zuckerberg or something.
yeah.
Like it just sounds very sad and pathetic.
Actually, could you do some Billy Bob Thornton research for us for a second? Like,
I thought you were gonna ask for an impression because I can do one.
You know what the best thing
French
Billy
fried
Bob Thornton
taters.
ever did was he
Play a
directed
special needs person?
Nope, he directed the film adaptation of Cormac McCarthy's masterpiece, All the Pretty Horses, and the movie was all right.
I didn't
It's
know
pretty
that.
Yep.
Cormac McCarthy is an author, a writer, correct?
Yes. Correct.
He's the writer of The Road. Is that his most famous? Or No Country for Old Men, maybe?
No Country for Old Men and The Road are probably like his like mainstream commercial peak. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But like
no.
Blood Meridian is like a big one that he's known for in like literary circles. I would
So
say.
what's are you like a big fan of his, or have you read a lot of his books?
I've read Blood Meridian, I've read All the Pretty Horses, and I've read The Road and No Country for Old Men. I've only read like a handful, but he's cool. He's very he's like a minimalist writer. Like he doesn't use a lot of like punctuation.
Oh.
That's
Like
so cool.
he doesn't use quotation marks at all.
Like it looks like a movie script or something. I guess movie scripts maybe have more punctuation.
Yeah, it's like a lot of like. So
Like a
he does
draft.
this thing, and I'm sure someone's gonna know better. But he does this thing where he's like, it's like very dry and like matter of fact description, and like he'll do it's like really terse language, and then all of a sudden he'll like describe something like that seems like minute,
Like some
and,
random thing that
crazy
seems
detail,
mundane.
and it's like, yeah, it gets like all like metaphysical all of a sudden. It's really cool.
Huh. A
I like him
sparse
a
use
lot.
of punctuation and attribution.
Yeah, so he doesn't say like he said or this person said. He'll just like,
Yeah.
but he does it so well that it's easy to follow. You know who's
when
saying
it's-
what,
Yeah.
which is like seems dumb maybe, but that's like so it has to be so hard to do
Yeah, totally.
to make it where people can actually follow it. But yeah, it's really good. One of the things I like about that movie is almost all the dialogue is taken directly from the book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if an audiobook of his would be slightly less interesting because you would lose all of that aspect
I don't know.
of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, books
sometimes
are lame and they're for nerds.
Yeah,
Sometimes in audiobooks, like the voice actor, like
does too much.
It's like
yeah,
it's a choice to like do voices and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And I wonder what they would do with that if they would
they
like.
always in the Ender's Game series that we're listening to the fourth book now, but the third one, there's like a whole part of there's kind of parallel plot lines, and one of them is about this. It takes place like 3,000 years in the future, but one of them is this race that's descended from Chinese people, and it's like I think it's just some white lady reading this book, but she's like doing a Chinese accent while speaking English because like the book's in English, obviously.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know when they recorded this audiobook, but it does not like that does
But
not
it's
hold
like
up very
you don't
well.
think in like 3,000 years, like the accents might have changed a little bit.
Exactly, that's part of it too.
Like they're speaking English 3,000 years from now.
And they're still talking about like, well, the premise of it is that like Earth expanded to all these other worlds, right? So in
Right.
theory, it makes sense that like Earth people would still reference Earth, but like they talk about like, oh, these guys are descended from these people who lived in Portugal on Earth, and it's like that was such a snapshot in time when you're talking about thousands of years, you know?
Yeah.
Like doesn't
That's funny.
It's weird.
These
But
people
yeah, it is
are
like
actually from
pretty-
Northern California.
Yeah, it is like not great.
That's
It's a
funny.
pretty bad like yeah, it's like a, you know, Mickey Rourke or whatever. Was it Mickey Rourke that did that?
Mickey Rooney.
Mickey
I'd love to see Mickey Rourke.
That'd be great, dude. If Mickey Rourke played a racist Chinese depiction of a character.
oh
Holy
my
crap.
gosh.
He's like very gruff, angry, fake Chinese guy. Now I gotta look up when that audio
Mickey Rooney was Japanese. His character was Japanese. Mr. like Watton.
Oh, of course. And it's like very, yeah.
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 Yeah. Hey guys, I have a new segment
let's hear
for
it.
us today, and I don't have a title for it, but I have some potential titles.
Okay.
I was talking to some friends of ours earlier, Steve Burke and Ryan Reynolds.
Row.
Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Wow.
And we had this idea to see if we could find some am I the ass beep. Am I the ass beep?
Bunghole.
That's how it goes, right? You can say ass,
Ass beep. Yeah.
but you can say hole, but you can't
Yeah.
say ass beep.
Yeah.
Ass beep is good.
Ass beep. So some potential names that are all guitar themed. So here's some. You tell me if these names are good. Am I the A string? It's like a play on Am I the A hole?
I
But it's
gotcha.
a string like a guitar.
We understand.
Guitar string.
Okay.
Am I the output jack? Because the output jack's kind of like the ass beep of the guitar. It's like where everything comes out.
Or actually, maybe more accurately, your butthole is kind of like your body's output jack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the exact same thing, but yeah.
Ironically, to get anything out of your output jack, you have to stick something in it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like
That's weird,
food.
Wait, you have to stick something in. I don't think that's true of your butthole.
That's
though.
true of the guitar only. Not
Okay, I was
not
gonna
of
say,
human anatomy.
You have to
But
stick something into your input jack, but you don't have to stick anything into your output jack.
No, that's why it
Trust
doesn't
me.
quite work.
I put food in my input jack,
Yeah,
and then
You input
things come
food into
out
your
of my
input jack.
output jack.
yeah, and a guitar has no input jack per se.
Exactly. It just has pickups.
There was Am I the tone knob? That was
See, I was thinking like you're a knob, right?
Yeah.
Like that's negative, and then you're like tone deaf kind of thing. How about Am I the sound
about-
hole?
Am I the sound
Ooh.
hole? That's good. I had.
Is that
am
what
I
you
the,
call it?
Am I
That's
the
what you call
wah-wah?
it, right?
Because the wah-wah
Sound porthole.
Am I the F hole?
But see, because
That's
wah-wah,
not on a guitar though, right?
yeah, there's F holes.
And I guess
on,
like a semi-hollow or
But
something.
wah-wah
Yeah.
sounds like you're like bleeping it out. Like you're like, am I the wah-wah?
Is
Am I
that
the
how they bleep
wah-wah?
stuff out?
Wah-wah? Am I the wah-wah? That's how they bleep it out in Charlie Brown.
Oh yeah. Is that what it was? His parents are just like swearing at him like crazy.
Yeah, it was just all adults were just swearing,
cussing like sailors.
It was like Goodwill Hunting.
They're like, "What's that, mother?"
Am I the monster cable? I think that was Phil's idea.
That's Phil. Not his best
Am
one.
I the monster cable?
Am I the monster cable? Anyway,
No,
it's not
solid
good.
B-
It doesn't work.
It does.
Explain it.
Okay, monster cables are dumb. Monsters. When you say you're a monster, that's a negative thing.
Wait, why are monster cables dumb?
Yeah, they're just dumb. They're like
Just like
They're overpriced.
They're expensive.
And they're
not
the connectors are slightly larger, so they stretch out your jack.
Oh,
if you know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah, they stretch out your output jack.
Ooh.
Let's just say monster cables are confusing, and we'll leave it at that. But what I came up with was the final title is "Am I the Ass Beep Guitar Edition?"
All of that.
It's the most straightforward. I have 3 stories to read to you, and what I found out is a lot of the stories are like, well, I'll read one to you and then I'll tell you. All right, am I the ass beep? Ass beep is good for me. Should I read the title or no? Because
the titles are good. That's like part of it. Because
right, am I the ass beep for buying a $50,000 guitar for $4,000 and refusing to sell it back when the buyer found out the real value? So a lot of the stories I found were this scenario where it's like someone bought something for cheap and then the person found out what it was worth and they're like, "Is this to give it back or like give me more money?" And they're like, "No."
Is this these are all from Reddit?
They're from different places around,
but probably screenshotted from
originally Reddit.
Right?
Yeah, it seems like. Yeah. Well, one is actually on the Fender forum, the Fender Strat Talk forum, strattalk.com. This happened a while back. My wife and I still talk about it every once in a while, not and a while. She's on my side and most of our friends and family are. However, when it happened, it was like WW3 between us and her coworkers and others. Here we go. I've been playing the guitar for 22 years, not the guitar in question, but just guitar. I know guitar values and whatnot very well. I'm very into the guitar market. At my wife's old company, she was hanging out with coworkers one day after work, and she mentioned that I play guitar. A coworker who I guess is very popular at work said that his dad passed away and he was selling his dad's things. His dad had a guitar and he asked my wife if I'd be interested in it, not the dad. My wife texted me and I said to have him send me the info on the guitar and the price. The next day, he texted me the pics and the price. It was a 1952 Telecaster in mint condition. He had the original receipts, which was crazy. That's how I knew the date. I asked what he wanted for it, and he said he looked up Telecasters online, and he thinks $4,000 is fair. I texted back, "I'll take it for $4,000," and went to pick it up. The guitar had no sentimental value to him at all. Here's the issue at hand. The guitar is worth approximately $50,000 depending on the buyer, and I knew it. When I got the guitar, I told my wife the price and what it was worth. She was floored. Fast forward 2 weeks, her coworker tells my wife he just found out what the guitar was actually worth from a family friend and wanted it back. She said, well, he really likes guitar and he knew it was worth $50,000, which is why he was floored. You offered it to him for $4,000. I think the wife is the ass beep. He really likes it, and I doubt he will sell it back, but you can ask. Probably not the smartest thing for her to say.
I love that. It's just like, I'm completely rejecting the idea that he owes you anything, but he might sell it back to you if he chooses to. Yeah. You know, feel free to ask.
He contacted me and asked to buy it back. I said it's not for sale. He then said I scammed him and he was going to sue me and take my wife to HR for being a part of the scam, which was nuts.
My wife to HR.
But he actually did contact HR. They were cool about it and said it's not their problem. It's between him and me. Over the next few months, he made things very uncomfortable for my wife at work. He would bug her constantly about it. She eventually had to go to HR for harassment, and they actually let him go. She complained twice, and he was warned and didn't stop. He's contacted me several times about it, so I got a restraining order for harassment too. I blocked him too. I haven't heard from him in about a year. Am I the ass beep?
Okay, so
Yes.
here's I
Now, I
don't
have
want to
nuanced
start with
thoughts, but
like he's I mean, here's the thing. Like too many people when they reply to Am I the Ass Beep, they take it from the standpoint of did I do anything illegal?
Right.
Or completely unethical or morally wrong.
Right.
Like that's not the question. The question is if you're an ass beep, and this guy obviously is.
Yeah. In
Like
the situation,
what he did isn't legally wrong whatsoever. He didn't do anything. I think personally that it's ethically wrong, but that is,
Yeah.
subjective, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
my guess is all of these are always going to be legally you're fine. Ethically, everyone would agree that you're a butthole.
So here's the problem with this subreddit in general is that like that obviously didn't happen, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't
Like there's
Aaron
too
made
many.
this up?
Okay, first of all,
I didn't
on
know.
what universe? Go tell me how you could Google a Telecaster and decide on $4,000 as the fair price.
know. Right. That doesn't
Like
even make
there's
sense.
there's no Telecaster on the market that you would look at and say,
Unless
oh,
you're
that
like looking at,
represents.
like, vintage Telecasters, but
Or yeah, like the American, like what do they call them?
like the custom
what are
shop would be like close. Like
Yeah, like the custom reissues, I guess, right? But also
wait a
like
minute.
this guy's like living out a dream in his head, right? He's like standing in the shower thinking like, oh man, it'd be so great if I could buy a 52 Telecaster
for $4,000.
for $4,000. And like, I don't want to say 500 because I want it to sound believable, So I know this is like making the game less fun, but that is like, okay, here's what most like 90% of Am I the Ass Beep is. Am I that for saying this mean thing to somebody? And it's always like this completely sick burn.
Uh-huh.
And you and like in reality, the situation is real, but they never said that. They just thought about saying it while they're in the shower, Yeah. And they're like, oh man, if I said that. So really what they're asking is like, tell me how cool I am for saying this amazing roast and like totally obliterating this other person, But yeah,
It
that
is
guy's
weird,
obviously
like on the one hand, it's like, yeah, obviously, like you would think, like, especially if you
Like,
have,
it's one thing-
connect to this person.
if you're
however
buying
petty
like
it is.
a pedal for $50 that you can sell for $150,
Yeah.
but like $50,000 is like life changing. It's not like permanently life changing, but it is like
it's a lot
that
of
is
money, yeah.
and to like somebody that you know personally. Not that it's like better to screw somebody just because you don't know them or whatever.
But if
Although
it's like a
sometimes it is
listing
fun to screw
online, it's
somebody
like,
if you
okay,
don't know.
$4,000 for this guitar. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's something,
yeah,
or,
exactly.
like, in a
Like,
store or something.
Is
yeah,
it possible that the guy, the grandson or whoever it is, that he was
Son.
like, that he just Googled like, new, like Guitar Center, new Fenders, and the most expensive one was $4,000, and so he was like, okay, I guess
But yeah,
this is $4,000.
but then if you were like, if you didn't know anything about guitars and you Googled the prices of Telecasters and the most expensive one was $4,000, and you'd be like, well, okay, the most expensive brand new one is $4,000. There's no way I can sell this old used one for that much. Like you wouldn't settle on that price, or you would feel like that price was like,
yeah, because like even the American vintage, that's like, because if it's 52 Tele, it's probably just like the dumb butterscotch looking one, right?
Yeah.
And the American vintage Tele, which is called the 52 Tele, it's still only like $2,000.
Yeah. Like you'd
Like
have
retail.
to find custom shop ones, which were like in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. But then you'd be like, well, this isn't a custom shop.
Yeah.
It's just like some old guitar my dad had.
But maybe you could say like, oh, if this is $2,000 now, this is like an antique, so it's worth more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I think the entire thing, like we're nitpicking one fact from this, fictional story that was
Okay,
told or
but
whatever.
let me ask you this. If he didn't know the receipt was there first? Like, let's say this guy was like, "Oh, my dad's old Telecaster. Here's like a picture of it," and you're like, "Okay, that's an old guitar, but I don't know how old. Do you want? I'll pay you $4,000 for it." You're thinking it's like, okay, it's like 60s or whatever. It's old, but I don't know how old.
Yeah, 80s maybe.
Then would you be the ass beep when you both found out later?
I feel like
50,000.
Yes.
It's not
Here's the
that
thing.
hard to like get close just by looking at it. It would take you 30
Listen,
seconds to
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
The second
you've been
you
playing
know-
forever.
It's $50,000,
You
and you
have
don't
to say
say-
something.
and you don't say, "Hold up,
Yeah,
I don't feel like I can
Yeah.
buy this
Like,
guitar.
I
for
need to
this
give
amount of
this
money."
back to you, and you give me back my money,
Yes.
and then
okay, but
I'll
how
even help
close?
you.
How close do you have to be to the person for that to kick in?
yeah, I mean the fact that like he
Okay, listen.
he made his wife's life worse.
Well, yeah,
Like
Yeah.
he knew that like someday he's gonna figure it out, and they still work together.
yeah.
Like it's almost worse that it's an acquaintance that
She
you
was
work
in
with
on
Okay.
it.
because it's someone that you're like forced
Here's-
to interact with.
Okay, this is my honest answer, and this is painful to say.
Just be honest, Phil.
In all my flipping days, but like if I saw like on Craigslist some old lady is selling this guitar, and I'm like, oh dang, I want that guitar real bad, because it looks cool. It's got like the checkered blah blah blah. Okay, I'm gonna go, and then I'm like, oh crap, this is like very old and worth a lot of money. I would feel bad if I didn't say something right then. And if the only reason I would not feel bad is if she said, I know that it's worth a whole lot of money, but you know what? My husband would want you to have it he would want this to go to somebody who's really excited about it. So
What
I'm
if she
totally
said?
fine
What if
taking
she said?
$4,000.
What if she said, "My husband bought this a long time ago. He never played it. It's just been like in a closet. It means nothing to me. I did some research, and I think I would be happy with $4,000 for it."
No,
Then what would you
I
do?
would tell her,
See,
I would say,
we're talking like such
Lady.
lunatic numbers, though. Like you're talking about, you feel bad for flipping. Like we don't all remember this, but some of us super fans might remember the guitar that I bought from that I bought and sold and rebought
Yeah,
and resold.
we remember.
But like
we all
even
remember
those, it was a difference of like $150.
yeah.
And I even told
Right.
the guy like, hey, I feel bad. Like you remember,
Yes.
I sold this to you.
And you told him.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, like that's my life's different now than it was a month ago." So like
What if it's,
it's just the
pawn
numbers
shop?
are just so pawn shop, like, well, I don't know,
It's in a pawn shop, and they have it listed for $4,000. Would you say, "Hey, this guitar is worth like $50,000"?
Yeah, because pawn shops
No.
are like largely
Why not?
scams, right?
Why
Like,
would you not for them? What if it's an old lady
Because-
who owns the pawn shop?
Because
I
it's
love
their
that.
business to know.
idea? I love the sweet little old lady. Yeah, I'll give you $50 for it.
The Martin that I have, I bought from Guitar Center used, and they told me when I bought two guitars from used from Guitar Center, both times where they were their guitar tech, like talking to the guitar tech at the store saying, yeah, something's wrong with it, so that's why the
Yeah.
price is so low. And I was like, and I'm thinking in my head, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, you guys are just dumb. And I was
But
like,
do
okay, are you
you-
sure?
Do you feel bad for enabling them to then pay? other
Okay, so
people
here's
even
the
less?
difference. Here's
buy
the
it from
difference
them?
though. With
No.
Guitar Center and with a pawn shop, with the pawn shop, they set their price before they bought the item
Yeah,
and
yeah.
determined what they had to pay for it. So
Yes.
they are only out what they paid for it, and they made
Yeah.
the markup that they wanted to make, right? That's where the transaction ends. There's no sentimental value. There was no extra. It's not like it was something that they owned from the past that you are now basically taking money out of their pocket. Like, this is just a transaction that they're making a profit on. It's just a commodity,
What
So
if
I
you
feel
bought
like
it at a
that's-
yard sale and you didn't, and then you found out? Would you feel obligated to go back and tell them?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. For that much, like if it was a guitar that I
That's so
thought
much
was
money.
worth $1,000 and it was actually worth like 2,000,
Yeah.
I feel like that might be borderline.
Yeah.
But like that is so much freaking
What if you
money,
didn't find
dude.
out till like 10 years later? You take it to like old antique roadshow.
Okay.
And you're like, you
okay.
can see. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, I
Aaron,
agree.
if we're-
I agree. He is the
Listen.
ass beep, obviously. Him
Listen,
and his
we're
wife.
talking
both.
about the difference
and they got
between-
this guy fired.
Dude,
Like,
that is
not
pretty
only,
great.
No.
Not only are we going to
No.
take your guitar, we're going to
No, they
also
didn't.
ruin your life.
Yeah. You
No,
thought
they
you
did
only
not
lost
get it fired.
$50,000 for knowing
No,
us?
I
You're going to
know.
lose way
I
more
know.
money. You're going to lose way more
He
money
did
for
that,
having
he did that
fired.
to himself. You're right.
He was acting like a lunatic if he's like, she's like, I'm warning you, I'm getting a restraining order, and he's like
Yeah.
still going after her.
About this guitar.
Like,
You better
he
sell it
must
back
have
to me.
I want my $2. He must have gone to the cops and said, hey, they stole this from me. And the cops were like, no, you sold it to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
So, like-
Does the guy who sold the guitar know that the other guy knew how much it was worth before he bought it?
Oh yeah, that I don't know, but I would. Because she told him.
Did she?
My
Yeah,
husband,
remember?
yes.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, he knew that, and
Okay, so that actually justifies his behavior to a certain extent. I feel like
he knew it was
like
worth
he
50,000.
100% was trying to screw you. There's
Yeah.
no veil of uncertainty.
Yeah, because all he had to do was be like, that's worth a lot more than that, right? And the guy's like, yeah, but you can have it for 4,000. Okay, perfect. You're in the clear.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so much though.
I mean, I would still feel very shady if I said the words that you just said.
It's worth
You know,
a lot
it's worth
more.
more than that. And they're like, yeah, I know.
But so
Here's the thing.
it's
back
not
to your,
worth
back to your
$50,000
10-year scenario.
necessarily. Like that is excessive.
Yeah, that's like I saw one listed on
No.
Reverb for 50,000, so that's what it's worth.
No. Okay, check this out. Aaron, let's go back to your 10-year scenario. Let's say you buy the guitar, you're like, oh, this guitar is so cool. It's old, and I paid $4,000 for it. And it was some old guy's, guitar, and his wife didn't care. And I've been playing it like, just here and there, barely touch it, but like I'm very careful with it.
Mhm. Left hand only.
10 years later, 10 years only, 10 years later, I find some super rich guy is like, whoa, I will give you $50,000 for that guitar right now. And you're like, wait, 50,000? And he's like, yes, I will write you a check. I'm very wealthy. I will write you a check right now for $50,000.
Yeah.
And you go, crap.
Like that old lady's probably dead by now, so it's cool.
That now
did.
this is the
all
scenario
good.
like 10 years later, if I did not know, and now somebody's saying I will
Yeah,
buy this
10
for
years is-
$50,000.
It's too far.
I
I'd go
feel
like, okay,
I feel like that clock runs out even like pretty quickly.
Plus, it depends on
You
if you know
genuinely-
the person. Like
If you
working
genuinely
with
had
them
no idea,
versus
yeah, if it's a yard
is
sale,
totally
like
different.
how are you even going to remember what house you bought it
Yeah,
at?
yeah.
If you find out even like a month later that hey, it's worth. I mean, these numbers are just so loony, but
Yeah.
like it's worth 50 grand.
if it's
like,
a month
holy
later,
crap.
I'm going back and knocking on
Well,
the
that's
door.
a good point.
Yeah.
Like, how long did it take for him to know?
6
If it
months.
was like, it says 2 weeks. 2 weeks too. Like, dude, come on. After 2 weeks, you
that
gotta sell it
sucks,
back.
dude. Yeah, that is like
This dude, there's an update. He goes, this post blew up, and I was more than I was expecting. It looks like I was voted
they always
not the ass beep.
no way.
Over 5,000 comments, and most of them said he was not.
Is that
This
actually?
guy's lying. This guy's a liar.
Is he saying that, or is that the actual?
That's what he's saying. It's
Oh,
like in
'cause-
the post.
okay.
All right. Let's move on because we can talk about he is okay. This one I haven't read, so I don't really know what's happening here. This is just from December 23rd, 2022. This just happened.
Ooh.
I just about a week ago agreed to sell a member of another forum 2 saddles for an Ibanez Power Rocker. I didn't really know how much they were worth, and I let him convince me that $30 with me paying the shipping was fair. as according to him, I could buy the whole bridge for around $50. So I said fine. And then I checked eBay, which you should have checked eBay before you said fine, but whatever.
Yeah, dummy.
The block for that bridge goes for $100. The plate is around $60, and the saddles for $59 each. And there is only one for sale on Evil Bay at this time. He said Evil Bay.
Did he say Evil Bay?
He did. Not the first time, but the second time he said Evil Bay. Needless to say, I felt that I was taken advantage of. I
feel like you should have led with this one because these numbers are way too small. I'm like, who cares? Nobody cares about this amount of money.
Well, the reason
so if it's not $50,000,
it's like for a Medikit. This guy has not been easy to get a hold of, so I sent him the $30 back that he paid me. I imagine when he sees that, he will call. But I really don't want to deal with him. I had offered to sell him the parts as I was trying to be nice, but now I'm pissed and I don't want to sell him one at any price.
So he never sent him.
No. I know that I'm not living up to my agreement, but I found out that he is actually trying to rip me off. What do you guys
think? Who cares?
Am I the ass beat?
He's obviously not.
Yeah.
He is not 100%.
It's not even close.
3Bolt 79, you are not the ass beat.
So does it say at the top? There's usually like a flare on the post that says a-hole or not the a-hole, like under the title.
This is just on some like, this is just on some.
Oh, this isn't on Reddit.
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah, that dude's not the ass beat.
No,
it's not even close.
It would have been a wiser move to look before you made a deal, but you look
like just making some dumb agreement. It's like backing out of a Craigslist deal.
Yeah, the
you're like, oh, we'll meet tomorrow.
Sent him the money, but then he sent it right back. So it's like you're not.
Yeah, like that's easy. It's just you just cancel the transaction. Like that'll happen sometimes where you like, okay, we'll meet tomorrow.
Yeah,
and then the next morning the person sleeps on it and they're like, I changed my mind. It's like, what are you going to do? Like, we had a binding agreement in a Facebook message. Like,
yeah, right.
Like,
even on like on Reverb, like if someone agrees to pay for it and then they back out, Reverb's like, well, they didn't, like it says on there, if you click this, you're agreeing to buy it. You are obligated to buy it, but you can still back out. And they're like, well, they didn't like.
It's like once you get in the checkout line, you agree to buy this, and then you get up to the register, and they're like, how much is this thing? And they tell you, like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said this before. Everything, all these interactions have an equivalent to a brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
If I walk into the store and I say, I love this guitar and I want to pay for it for $300, and they go, okay, give me your money. And I put the money in their hand, and then I go, you know what? I think I changed my mind.
Yeah.
They are
like they're just.
It's crazy for them to go, nope. You let go of the money.
Even if you're like,
you haven't even printed a receipt yet.
I mean, honestly, buying it on Reverb is more like just putting it in your cart.
Yes.
Until you pay for it, because it takes it off the shelf. Nobody else can get it, right?
Yeah.
You're like walking around the store with it, but you get to the checkout line and decide not to buy it, then that's just canceling it.
And I know people complain about it, stuff like that, like as sellers, and I get that, but you have to protect the buyer first. Like you have to.
Absolutely.
Because they're the
and
ones.
Also, like obviously you're going to complain about a system that doesn't favor you, you know?
Yeah, but then when you are the buyer, then it does. So it's like, you know.
But like ultimately, if people like purchasing it, it's such a weird thing, because if they were to change it to where like once you agree to purchase it, you're legally obligated to buy it, then it just means people are more hesitant to hit the purchase button. Like it just shifts it slightly. It's no, you know,
it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah.
All right, I have one more, and this one's a doozy.
Okay.
Am I the ass beat for asking for compensation for something my kid destroyed?
Oh man, I feel like I've heard this one actually, but keep going.
All right, we hired a babysitter we've had a few times at a good rate of $20 per hour, since it was only for 3 hours in our home. The babysitter is a 19-year-old woman, if that matters. I think maybe the age will affect something. My wife had to rush to work in an emergency, and I was already at work. The babysitter is already familiar with some of our rules, like our 3-year-old is only allowed in the living room, playroom, and dining room, and only when eating. Okay, that's crazy. The babysitter, I guess, had an emergency herself and had to be on the phone for 20 minutes. For some reason, she decided to take the call outside. Her rationale was it was private and didn't want our child to listen in. 3-year-old child. In those 20 minutes, our daughter was able to move the couch to the living room gate. Okay. Scale the gate, head into the basement, and pull one of my guitars off the wall. The neck is all warped, and my luthier said the neck needs to be replaced.
A neck doesn't get warped by falling down.
Yeah. I'm asking the babysitter to front the bill on a new guitar, not a repair or neck replacement, as the alternatives diminish the value of the guitar. Mismatching neck to body severely impacts value, and a neck repair does too. It's $2,200. Am I the ass beep here, or is she? Her parents are telling us we're responsible. She's offering only to have babysat for free. Our friends are saying we're too harsh, but it was her responsibility, right?
No, she's what this. I feel like this might
Literally
be real.
Everyone,
because the ones where they're obviously in the wrong. Like I don't know the reason to post that if it's fake, because you're obviously like he's so obviously wrong.
Yeah, literally everyone. He just said everyone in our life is saying that we should.
Everyone who literally has an obvious reason to lie to me and agree with me just because they're close friends
still
of mine.
Not agreeing with me.
Even they don't agree with me. Like that is pure lunacy. That like she would be responsible for your.
It's like, okay, yeah, obviously you should be pissed at her for like going outside and leaving your child in the house alone.
Yeah, but like that's because the child wouldn't be safe. The goal, like the reason you're paying a babysitter is to keep your child alive for those hours. Like
if she had been in the house and that same thing happened, you can't like
he would have no
for any damage in your home that your child did. I love that. Supposedly she went outside so the 3-year-old wouldn't listen to her conversation.
I know, that's so great. I don't want to burden him with my relationship problems.
Phone sex. It was phone
outside?
sex for sure. Yeah.
Outside?
Well,
I don't even.
With the ass
she
beep,
had to do it.
Was the ass beep involved?
She had to do it right then, and she's like, "I can't let the 3-year-old."
Hopefully, they have a high fence.
Maybe, but also, what kind of couch do they have? Because I have 2 2-year-olds, and they're together. They could not move the couch. Like
yeah, seriously,
inches even.
If it's like on if it has like hard legs and on a hard,
I guess
floor.
But still, like, why? This kid is like seemingly intentionally going down to the basement to get.
Yeah, dude, it's like freaking Rugrats. Like, who is this kid? Like immediately, as soon as she goes outside, I've been wanting to break this guitar for years from the day I was born.
Yeah,
and it's not broken though; it's warped. The neck is warped, like that. Like
that doesn't make
happen.
Like, warping, like.
Like, did she she like overtuned it or what?
Exactly. The baby pulled it down. It didn't. Yeah, it's because it like tuned the strings too high. It's like, oh, also one of the strings broke and took my baby's eye out. But what I need is financial compensation.
And you can't just fix it. You have to buy me a new one.
Yeah, because the aesthetics won't work quite right.
Because the resale value will have dropped.
Yeah.
There's something about this ass beep's attitude towards his gear that's reminding me of somebody that I used to go to church with who is super into motorcycles, and he like not like in a cool way, like we all know cool people, like Aaron, who are like, hey, I'm cool and I have a motorcycle. And then there are people who are like,
one really cool thing that Aaron did on his motorcycle.
There's people who have motorcycles and people who are into motorcycles.
So this guy, so what I'm saying is this guy was
do a podcast about motorcycles.
Very, very nerdy. He was a nerd, and he was really into motorcycles. And
but like the mechanic, like he was like work on them and stuff, or
probably
just, like, in the art of motorcycle maintenance.
Probably
just like had posters.
So then he got married to a nerdy lady, and then he was like, "Hey, this is my hobby, so I'm going to buy you a motorcycle." And
she's like, no,
that usually works out well.
And we can do motorcycle things together. Right. So this was, I remember this like vividly, like being at a Bible study, and her saying, yeah, so, I had my first spill the other day, and, I accidentally dumped the bike, and she's like, and he got mad at me, and then he like super serious goes, I mean, wounds heal. The bike, like,
Oh,
we
because she
have
like
to pay for it.
she
and
let
I
the
was
bike
like-
fall and didn't sacrifice her leg or something.
Yeah, like she didn't try to like save it. She like
Yeah.
jumped or something.
How can you can't save it?
Well, it wasn't like,
I mean, I guess if you let it fall on your leg, or maybe
If it's
like she
not,
bailed,
if you're not moving and you just drop it, sure.
or if he's
it
saying
wasn't-
like she could have recovered and instead
Well,
bailed or something.
Yeah, but it
right?
doesn't sound like she's like
adept.
they're the motorcycles that they had
Yeah.
were those touring bikes that like have all they're super heavy,
Yeah.
and they're like
that have like the
cross-country-
full windshield thing
Yeah.
yes,
yeah.
and they've got like all the compartments, right?
that look like
So-
cars.
I'm assuming that like this, she wasn't like moving super fast or anything. She was not hurt at all.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Just
that
tipped
it was
over.
like it started to tip and she got scared, and so she like
Yeah.
instead of trying to like fight it and save it, she just like
Yeah.
kicked off of it.
Which I love the fact that if that's the case, that he's basically mad at her for
For not being a good enough
falling
rider.
over.
Yes.
Yeah. Like for making a mistake, and not even a mistake, for like.
But then the bike,
Also, I love
the bike
I love
was scratched
like
up.
when the fact that she was like,
And
I
it's
had
not
my
gonna
first
heal.
spill. That's like how people who beat their kids talk about like, oh, I gave my kid a pop. It's like, oh, why don't you just say I hit my kid?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
or why didn't you say
you're right.
you had your first motorcycle crash? It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Well, it wasn't a crash. No, I'm not going to crash and die like everyone else does.
It's
This
just
is not
you're
a
right,
crash.
dude.
It's just a spill.
because
Yeah.
because they know statistically it's like
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
on a motorcycle, given enough time,
Totally.
you do
It's
crash.
just a matter of
Yeah,
time.
that's what they say. It's not if, it's when.
So you have to talk about it like
Yeah.
no big deal. Yeah.
A
So
spill.
anyway,
I had a little splash.
I remember it so vividly. I remember thinking, and I was like 19, 18, 19, and I remember thinking,
Yeah.
I can't.
What
this is his
an ass
wife.
beat.
He's like, I
Dude.
bought this for you so you could do my hobby with me, and you're not even good enough to do it
I
right.
forced my hobby on you, and you haven't even
This
learned
is
to
the
do it
things I
well
get?
enough yet.
That's funny.
Of all the hobbies, too, it's one thing to be like, hey, I like watching this sports team, or I like going to see this band. Will you come with me?
Yeah.
Like,
or it's different if
that's
like
a lot.
they met that way and she was already into it, and he's like, "Here's a
Right.
bike because I love you and you like."
Oh, totally.
motorcycles."
That's different. And like, granted, some people would love to like, in high school, I'm sure like plenty of girls wanted a guy on a motorcycle or
Yeah.
a girl on a motorcycle,
This is from
or a guy wanted a
2021
guy on a
also.
motorcycle.
Dude, girl on a motorcycle. Remember, I don't.
Oh, that's
remember
my
her name
favorite
from-
Angelina Jolie movie.
What was the girl from like the later season of Saved by the Bell that had a cool leather jacket?
Oh yeah, Tori.
Tori, yes.
Yes, dude.
Check this out. Listen,
Am I
there's
right or
some
am I
replies we hadn't thought about though. I'm going to tell you what really happened. The babysitter fussed with the guitar, and she's blaming the kid. I know babies are
Ah.
strong, but moving an entire couch strong, I don't know about that.
Oh,
That
this
being
is a
said-
commenter. This is just
these are
commenters
people
speculating.
These are commenters. I don't think you can ask her to pay for something your child broke. Okay, whatever. But yeah,
But,
again,
like,
a warped neck.
they're
That's the trick. The warped neck is the thing.
like
neck.
adding canon to this story that didn't even exist. Like, oh, you shouldn't have to pay because I just came up with this thing that isn't that is just like total speculation. That makes no sense. If
Yeah.
he had said it,
The babysitter could not possibly have anticipated that sequence of events. So while I feel for the OP's loss, boy howdy, are you the ass beep? Boy howdy.
boy howdy.
Who are these people?
Check this out. I mean, apart from the fact that Clark Kent, the 3-year-old, moved a sofa by himself, and I don't believe the story. You're the ass beep anyway. Fire the babysitter if you must, but trying to fleece a 19-year-old for $2,000 is reprehensible.
Okay,
Your
weirdly,
parent
you'll
and
see
things.
a lot of those posts because again, it's hard once you read enough of these to not be cynical about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But people who call posts out for not being real get downvoted pretty hard a lot of times. And I think it's just
because you're not playing the game.
Yeah,
exactly. You're ruining it. Like nobody's saying like, I genuinely in my heart believe this is real, but it's like, quit ruining the whole, like, we're all here for the same reason, you idiot.
If
you
you like
claim
people do that with movies, I hate that so much. Oh, it never happened in real life. Yeah, because it's a freaking movie.
Yeah.
It's not real life.
Which is why I hesitated to say that part at the beginning, but
that one is like, it's like poorly believable. It's like that one I showed you earlier where the lady deleted her husband's YouTube account, and then it's
my gosh, dude!
Oh, he had 670,000 subscribers and over 700.
It's like the most
millions and millions of views, which didn't seem like that much to me.
Which is like in what universe? And also, it's like what he was doing was these how-to videos.
She's like, why would a 25-year-old help old people online?
It's basically like trying to help old people with technology.
Yeah,
which is like, oh, that's like the most heartwarming. Like he sounds like the nicest guy on the planet, right?
Yeah,
100% altruistic.
Do this? He's like, yeah, I'll figure it out and do a tutorial for you.
Also, if this guy had
of that, why would she be?
And she's embarrassed of it, so embarrassed that at some point, and she would make fun of him all the time for it.
Yeah, like
and then eventually she ended up deleting it. But like, here's the other thing: somebody with 670,000 followers or subscribers and millions of views would have been making some amount of money from it.
I think you have to like monetize it though. Like you have to like choose.
I guess so. You have to like flip the switch, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. The whole thing is obviously fake. And to me, I like trying to think of like the scenario that actually led the person to this. And I think it's some, it's a freaking incel guy who's like, the guy, girls never go for the nice guy. Yeah. And he like imagines this like the nicest guy on the planet. Like there's nothing, what wrong can you say about this guy who in his free time makes videos for old people to help them learn technology? Yeah.
Like a lot of the ones that are clearly they are the ass beep. It seems like it's the other person. Like I'm going to tell the story
that wrote it
from their perspective.
Exactly.
Make them look bad. Like the babysitter actually wrote this one.
Oh,
like
totally.
This dumbass guy is trying to make me pay.
Yeah, there was this one where this guy, it was like, am I the ass beep for basically ruining my girlfriend's whole night? And he had bought tickets for her to go see, let's see here. This one is really good, so we actually should read it.
All right.
Okay, the title is, am I the ass beep for tolerating a night out with my girlfriend? Earlier this year, I gifted my girlfriend tickets to a concert that she really wanted to go to that was this past Friday night. I'm not a fan of her music, nor the fact that this concert was in the city, but I wanted to make it a great gift. She was elated when I told her about the VIP package. Last week, my girlfriend had been asking all the time if we had to get there early. Being the thorough, detailed person that she is, I assured her I would check. Instead, I was too busy with work. Honestly, it was getting a bit annoying at this point that she was asking about it every day. So I told her I didn't see anything while deleting a bunch of emails from the venue that I didn't even care about. On Friday, we showed up at 7 p.m. when the doors opened, and they informed us that the meet and greet was at 6 p.m., obviously. So already, so the bouncer informed us that the VIP was at 6. My girlfriend turns to me asking if I received any kind of emails. I told her that I deleted the emails, and she seemed to understand. Which is like, this, I actually really enjoyed the whole time. So once her band set ended, we decided not to stay. It's 10 p.m. We're outside of the venue, and she suggests we go to a bar a block away and either walk or ride share. Immediately, I said that was not a chance. She mentioned that my car was in a secure lot, and I said this is not the best way to go about things. And I told her, you don't go out in the city. There is crime all over the place. So he sounds like some freaking right-wing nut job, Cities are scary. She responded that we were in the city. I went off how I can't stand it here, so she said that she'll just leave. Overall, the night cost me over $300, and while she is... I suggest we go back to my place to finish out the night, and she refused. So it's basically like, hey, am I the a-hole for being mad that I took my girlfriend on this date, completely ruined it, and then am mad that she wouldn't have sex with me, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And while she's saying more to me now as opposed to Friday night, she's being very distant.
That's so dumb.
But like, okay, this is a perfect example of like, this was, if this happened, which it probably didn't, it was 100% written by the girl. Because like she takes every opportunity to make the guy sound like the hugest idiot on the planet. Like, who deletes emails, first of all? Like, what is your email inbox, like running out of space or something? Like,
I was too
lunatic.
Too busy.
And the fact that like she still seemed fine with all of it, which is like, she probably wasn't, but in her mind, she was like, I'm taking this surprisingly well. So, you know,
He'll never know.
I should be pissed off at him.
Oh man.
I just love the end of it. She was silent on the way back, and I suggest we go back to my place to finish out the night, and she refused. This also pissed me off because I asked what was wrong with the bar next to my apartment, and she shut that down with her short responses.
What is wrong with? But that is dumb. Like, you do not go out in the city. What is wrong with you? The city?
You don't go out in the city. There's crime all over the place.
Crime all over the place. Come on. I want to know what band they went to see.
I know. Oh, you know what? I think
they tell you later.
Oh man, I want to see it. There wasn't an edit, but it might have been in a reply or something. Mm-hmm. Most of these, it's like easy to find their replies because they create just burner accounts just for the one. Yeah, see, like this person's account is just concert a-hole, so like obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This can't be real. You can't actually think you need advice on whether or not. This is 100% real, and she is a very forgiving and kind-hearted person. See, again, this is 100% her. I just don't know how or if our relationship will recover from this. However, this doesn't diminish that she told me on Saturday that all of her disappointment came full circle. Yeah, see, that is 100% her. I was not expecting sex. What got me was her short responses, and this is not how I have ever seen her act. Dang. Okay, I'll see if I can find. You go on with your. Let's move on. I'll see if I can find what the band was. That's all I
got. I just
because I'm sure it's going to be disappointing when we hear what the band was. Yeah, I mean, it was the opening band, so maybe we won't even have heard of it.
But the opening band doesn't have a meet and greet. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I guess it depends. Like, we saw Dashboard Confessional open for Third Eye Blind, and Dashboard had a VIP thing, right? It could be two like nostalgia bands or whatever.
Yeah, that's like an opener that's like also big, though. It's not like.
Yeah, which it could have been. Like, you know, it's just. Opener. I'm just saying that like her band wasn't the last one to play.
Yeah, it wasn't like Hootie.
Thank you for responding. To clarify, it's a major U.S. city where the crime has gotten out of control.
It's Detroit, isn't it? Chicago.
Yeah, well, in Chicago, obviously. That's where all the crime is.
All the crime. Everyone knows all the crime takes place next to concert venues.
Exactly.
I mean, that's probably true, actually.
Dang. Yeah.
Well, like, no. I mean, I guess, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a major city. Like, it couldn't be like a massive stadium because stadiums aren't like in the heart of downtown generally.
Yeah.
But I guess
and someone asks who the band was, and they just say the band is not very popular or well known.
Okay.
Like, so what? But how are they charging $150 a piece for VIP tickets if they're not popular or well known?
Yeah, they got to be at least somewhat popular and well known.
How much for a for meet and greet?
$150.
Yeah,
that's how much. That's how much Bad Baby charged for meet and greet when I saw her.
Yeah, but if you said it was Bad Baby, you would be like, okay. Like,
now there's like all these people. I love this because there's all these people. There's all these people looking up concerts around this time because it says in the OP that it was like 2 weeks ago. So they're like, could have been the Violent Femmes, and in Boston, they just played. Oh, but it might have been Japanese Breakfast in Los Angeles. There's all these people.
Every
like
possible city.
Yeah, it's so great.
You got to make sure they had a meet and greet and see what the prices were too, though.
I know, dude. This was just 3 months ago. Okay, now I want to go do.
See, that's why like saying this isn't real isn't fun because that's not the point of it. Like the point of it.
Oh, totally,
like,
exactly.
It's like a thought experiment, basically.
Yeah. Like whether or not it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that's the only thing that's annoying is like when people post specifically to troll. because then they have no skin in the game, right?
Because they're breaking the illusion too. Like,
exactly. Yeah, they're not playing the game.
yeah.
Here's what saying that this is not real is similar to. It's like going to WWE and just keep screaming like, "This is fake! It's fake!"
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
yeah,
it's
we
like,
get it.
oh,
We all
look
signed up
here.
for the
They-
same
they-
experience.
They scored a touch ball at the sports game ball game.
Oh, totally. Exactly.
It's like deep down, most people know that things they're into are ridiculous. Like that's, but who
Yeah.
cares? Like everything is.
So what? Who cares?
So what? Who cares?
Cares.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. If you're listening to this and you don't think that's good stuff, you are incorrect because it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff.
Because it is.
It is. And thanks for friendship.
No, Phil's game.
Are we doing Phil's
No.
game? Oh, we'll do Phil's game
Yeah,
next
Phil.
year. Next week.
Okay.
We don't, dude. It's 10 o'clock.
I'll find it.
We can
I know
do
it's
what?
11 o'clock
Isn't
for
it
me.
like
and I
a
have to
million
wake up at
o'clock for you?
5:15.
Yeah.
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 This has gone on long enough. You see? Sorry, my
You
thing took
see?
too long. You see?
It was
If
worth
you
it.
wouldn't
It was fun.
have been quizzing me about Angelina Jolie last episode, we could have done my thing last episode and the game this episode. Don't feel obligated. And
I'll
it's not
tell
podcast
you
material. And thanks for friendship.
Off camera.
Thanks, friendship.
Thanks for friendship.
Stop my recording.